What I initially perceived as merely a room, a serene space to pause and reflect, soon revealed itself to be so much more. As I navigated through my thoughts, just a simple request, no strings attached, from an old acquaintance. Yet I began to hear whispers, a chorus of them. Joyful sounds emanate from the kitchen as I ventured outside to uncover the unfolding events. It dawned on me that I was not alone in my presence there. From their warm welcome, it was evident. This was orchestrated, though not by my hand. Before we dive in, if you've joined us previously, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more adventures ahead. It's the simplest method to support the channel. Your encouragement is invaluable, and if you're just joining us, a warm welcome to you. Once upon a time, we shall embark on our journey. As I approached the kitchen, whispers danced in the air, beckoning me closer, easygoing as if the chat had been flowing for some time. This was meant to be a serene retreat. That's the way it was set up when I got there. The guest room is available for you to use for as long as you wish. It seemed like a narrative unfolding. That's all there is to it. It's quite simple. Yet in this moment a change was palpable. The aroma wafted through the air, reminiscent of freshly baked delights emerging from the oven. A melody floated softly from a speaker perched on the counter. Just a subtle pulse blending into the ambiance. As I entered the room, I found myself adjusting my sleeves, a small gesture that felt like the beginning of a tale waiting to unfold in the heart of the home. 3 figures gathered around the kitchen island, each with their own tale to share. There he was, accompanied by 2 unfamiliar faces that didn't immediately ring a bell. One seemed to spark a sense of recognition. The other remained silent. They were caught in a moment of joy, laughter spilling from their lips when they turned just a bit at the echo of my approaching footsteps. He cast a quick look, then offered a subtle nod, nothing unexpected, nothing to clarify. A gentle, easy smile. "Hey," he said, "the moment has come for you to rise." I offered a subtle nod in return, still finding my footing. My gaze shifted among the others, each offering a warm look as if we were old acquaintances. Even though I couldn't recall the moment we had crossed paths, he took a step closer and extended a mug towards me. He mentioned that he had created a little more. Once upon a time there was a cup of coffee, its warmth lingering in the air. I embraced it, thankful, yet a bit uncertain about what lies ahead. There was a certain warmth to the room, a sense of history that lingered in the air as if it had been touched by countless moments before. The chairs were drawn back just a bit from the table, hinting at moments shared and conversations held. They stood effortlessly unhurried and natural, simply existing in the moment. The front door stood ajar, allowing the morning light to spill in and a gentle breeze to whisper through. I found myself curious about their identities and the duration of their visit, yet no one seemed eager to provide any clarity. At this moment it seemed to suffice. Once more the house fell into a hushed silence. The dinner dishes, having been rinsed, were left out to dry, quietly awaiting their next adventure in the kitchen. A solitary lamp illuminated the living room, bathing the walls in a gentle golden hue, whispering a reminder to savor the light before darkness enveloped the space. He had kindly suggested redoing the guest room, but I instinctively declined without fully considering it. "I'll remain out here," I declared. He raised an eyebrow, as if curious about what I might say next. "Are you really certain?" I gave a slight nod. "Everything is all right. It resonates with authenticity." He accepted it without a second thought. With a gentle sweep, the blanket cascaded over the couch, and then I slipped away down the hall, leaving a whisper of comfort behind. I made an attempt to find my place. I truly did. Yet the stillness hung heavily in the air, a comfort born from the kind of quiet that lingers far beyond its welcome. It wasn't unpleasant, merely overwhelming in its entirety. In due time, I rose and ventured toward the rear of the house. The door to his room was slightly ajar. I gently knocked and stepped closer. He was sitting on the edge of the bed, reading a book that seemed to have been left behind in the midst of a tale. "Are you all right?" he inquired, unfazed. Simply observing, I found myself wide awake, I confessed. He remained still, placing the book down his ears, attuned to the unfolding narrative. The silence that lingered between us held a warmth, filled with untold tales. "I don't mean to cut in," I added. "At this moment, solitude with my thoughts feels overwhelming." He gave a slight nod, as if acknowledging an unspoken tale. "Feel free to take a seat if you'd like." I stepped into the room and took a seat on the nearby bench, my hands resting in my lap, with my hands neatly folded in my lap. In the stillness of the room, a gentle glow emanated from the small lamp beside him. It wasn't filled with tension, merely a stillness hung in the air. There was a silence between us for some time. In that moment, we found ourselves without a single thing to occupy our thoughts or time. As I reclined softly on the comforter, my gaze drifted up to the ceiling. The atmosphere surrounding us was not burdensome, merely tranquil. In the quiet moments between words, a sense of resolution took hold. I'm not sure what changed. Perhaps there's simply nothing there. Perhaps it's in those moments when the world quiets, and there are no demands that time seems to stretch and unfold in unexpected ways. To my surprise, a sense of calm washed over me, I remarked. He offered a subtle, nearly imperceptible nod. "What a week it has been." And that was the end of it all. We stayed right where we were. We left it unsaid. For the first time in ages, it felt as though the world was at peace, with no impending events lurking in the shadows. It was a night that seemed to settle into a serene hush, inviting reflection and wonder. The morning unfolded with a stillness that lingered from the night that had just passed. Not vacant, merely at peace, as if the house had inhaled deeply and exhaled gently there. He was perched on the back steps, cradling a mug in his hand. The sky wore a gentle early grey, and the light filtering through the trees cast a soft glow, creating an illusion of distance in the world around. Without uttering a word, he made a small adjustment. Creating a space for me to settle beside him, I took a seat. Our gazes were fixed ahead, lost in the vastness of the yard that unfolded before us. He finally spoke, his tone relaxed. "You looked at ease last night." I offered a slight nod. In the stillness, a sense of calm enveloped the surroundings. "That was just what I was looking for." He gazed into his cup, rotating it slowly in his hands before he began to speak once more. "This evening a few friends are coming over," he mentioned. "It will be a gentle gathering with a few individuals sharing their experiences and reconnecting." I shifted my gaze in his direction. "Will you be the one to share the tales?" "It's more about giving them a place to rest for a while," he responded. "It occurs from time to time, nothing to worry about." In that moment of uncertainty, I paused. "Are you hoping to see me go?" He gently shook his head, as if caught in a moment of reflection. "Number, feel free to make yourself at home. This space belongs to you as well." I held my thoughts for a moment, letting the silence linger. Uncertainty washed over me. Yet the mere idea of fresh voices echoing through the halls ignited a flicker of something deep within, not anxiety. "Just a sense of the unknown. They sense a presence?" I inquired. He gave a slight nod, as if acknowledging an unspoken tale. "It's not about the details, just that the location is filled with life." I savored another sip of my coffee, though the warmth had faded. I still cradle the cup in my hands, savoring the moment. He mentioned that there was no pressure. If you feel inclined to greet someone, go ahead. If that's the case, it won't be taken to heart by anyone. I cast a quick look in his direction. What type of event are we talking about here? He gave a casual shrug. A small group of individuals who enjoy coming together every so often. At times we weave narratives together. At times we find ourselves gathered together, sharing moments of stillness. I allowed the words to linger in the air. I pondered the idea, I replied. He rose to his feet, eased his shoulders back, and offered a subtle nod. Whichever path you decide to take is perfectly acceptable. I wanted to share something with you. I lingered on the steps for a while after he departed, and in that moment, it seemed to hold all the meaning it needed. The following evening, I spent a bit more time preparing, not for any particular reason I could articulate, but simply to reconnect with my own sense of self once more. I slipped into a simple navy dress, one I had packed, but hadn't yet chosen to wear. It wasn't extravagant, but the way it draped perfectly gave it a sense of calm resolution that I had finally come to embrace recognizable. Yet with a touch more purpose, with my hair still glistening from the shower. I ran a brush through it, adding a touch of mascara and a hint of lip balm to complete the look. Nothing out of the ordinary, a simple transition that signifies the change from one moment of the day to the next. Even as I gazed into the mirror, my reflection seemed to whisper secrets of an unspoken tale, leaving me with a sense of something being just a bit askew. That's accurate. It felt as if I was on the brink of discovering something profound, lingering just out of reach, waiting for the right moment to be unveiled. From the hallway behind me, his voice emerged softly. They are journeying forth, with a subtle nod to my reflection. I delicately smoothed the sleeves of my dress, preparing for the tale that awaited friends. I inquired, my gaze fixed ahead. He lingered at the doorframe, resting softly against it, as if waiting for a tale to unfold. Indeed, individuals I've shared many experiences with over the years. Just casual, merely a visit. I shifted my gaze in his direction. Are they aware of my presence? He mentioned that they are aware of someone's presence, and that concludes everything. His voice carried a calmness free from any strain, no burden. Simply sharing a little insight, I expressed my uncertainty about what lay ahead. He offered a subtle nod. There's no rush to make a decision at this moment. Simply encounter them. And that concludes everything. A gentle knock echoed, followed by 3 delicate taps on the front door. He remained still. She cast a quick look down the hallway before turning her gaze back to me. Whenever you feel prepared, he said. I paused for a moment, gathering my breath. It wasn't nerves that held me back. It was a moment of reflection. As I ventured into the hallway, I made my way toward the door. At the threshold, I took a moment to gather myself, straightened my stance, and pushed it open. In a quiet moment, 2 figures emerged. One, a tall man draped in a wool coat, exuding an air of confidence, while the other, younger and with gentle eyes, carried a sense of ease in his stance. They exchanged gentle nods, a quiet acknowledgement, unhurried and courteous. As the sun dipped below the horizon, one of them spoke softly, a gentle smile gracing their lips. It unfolded quietly, without any grand gestures or unexpected twists. A humble and courteous beginning. As they entered the house, their footsteps were barely a whisper. Unhurried and unpretentious, moving forward with a calm assurance, reminiscent of a time when arrivals were marked by simplicity rather than spectacle. Silence enveloped us, a shared understanding in the air. One of them draped his coat over the back of a chair, gently flicking away a speck of lint from the sleeve. The other looked over the bookshelf, perusing the titles, leisurely as if time were on their side. In that moment, no eyes turned towards me immediately. It wasn't a matter of evasion, but rather a respectful distance being maintained. As they finally turned, I remained by the hallway, cup in hand, a silent observer of the unfolding moment. The atmosphere surrounding us was calm, neither burdensome nor electric, simply filled with silence that spoke volumes. I expressed my uncertainty about what I was meant to do. One of them caught my gaze. "There's nothing you need to worry about," he said, serene, assured. That resonated in a way I didn't foresee, neither as an approval nor as a rejection, but simply as understanding. I gave a slight nod, a gesture meant more for my own reflection than for their observation. I inched nearer, drawn not by necessity, but by the desire to immerse myself in the experience unfolding before me. The space between us seemed to shrink effortlessly, as if the very room was drawing everything closer together, creating an unspoken connection. One of them waved their hand toward the sofa invitingly. "Feel free to take a seat." I certainly did. The warmth of the seat enveloped me, a gentle reminder of the nearby fire, while the stillness around us created a serene backdrop. The second man drew a chair nearer, hesitating to take a seat just yet. He lingered at the boundary of illumination, absorbing the moment, not dissecting, merely existing in the experience. For a time, the dialogue flowed without a guiding voice. There was none. It seemed as though a journey was unfolding, one that had quietly commenced long before anyone took notice. It's as if you stepped into a space that had been holding its breath, eager for your attention all along. Once upon a time, a person shared a thought that was beautifully straightforward. I can't quite recall the details, but something happened that transformed the quiet from solitary to communal. I reclined slightly, allowing myself to inhale more fully, without expectations, without roles, and free from the pressure to label what this experience was. There's a certain warmth in finding a place where silence reigns and the need for words fades away. That was sufficient, not because it made a difference, but because it never sought my input. She found herself in an unexpected situation. It caught her completely off guard. Perhaps that's what gave it significance. Allow me to pose a question, and I encourage your honesty. Imagine yourself in that room. Would you have chosen to remain there? Imagine the emotions that would have washed over you in that moment. Share your thoughts in the comments. I find myself immersed in books constantly. If these subtle, intricate narratives resonate with you, be sure to like, subscribe, and enable notifications. More tales are on the horizon. Thank you for joining us.